What's up, everyone? We are back on another episode of Pound4Pound. I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
A Shadowline production.
Henry Cejudo. It is match week, my brother. Another one. It's the second one now. How is this feeling to kind of get rolling here in competition again? Because it's a wrestling match, but hey, these aren't easy to train for.
Yeah, no, it feels good, man. It feels exactly how a fight week would actually feel for like a UFC event. It's everybody cuts a little bit of weight, and obviously this is a rematch, dude, from my first encounter with Merab. So it is. It's been a process, Kamaru. You know what I mean? Getting back into your stance, shooting, like doing the whole nine. Like, bro, like 6 minutes in a hunched over position is a very, very long time once you get back into it. So it's definitely the jitters. The jitters still there, which is pretty cool. And
Really?
just excited, man.
Do you have jitters? I mean, you're an Olympic champion. Are you still having jitters right now?
Or should I say chills?
No, I mean, I'm wondering because obviously when we compete, when we go in there and we fight in the UFC, we have those jitters. You're anxious, you're excited, you're nervous, you're kind of scared, all of these different things. And yes, when we were wrestling, we'd feel those pre-match jitters. I'm in the finals of a tournament. Do you feel that knowing that you are the Olympic champion? Going up against Merab, who relatively was not a high level wrestler, but is a good high level MMA wrestler.
Sure. Sure. So the simple fact that this is a rematch. So the simple fact that it's a rematch against Merab Devalishvili, who quote Kamaru used to say, "Save me from the fire, save me from the burning building." So but it's cool, man. It's cool to more than anything, Kamaru. I think for me, it's cool to give back to the sport, man. It's cool to. Did I want to make these when I retire? I wanted to retire, man, but it was just the opportunity is just too good, So it's cool the fact that I could say, hey, man, I'm hopping out this sport. I'm part of that first group of people that could potentially take this sport public, and I'm at the forefront. Already main event my second main event for the for the 8 cards that they're going to be going on.
Right now, I mean it's great so far. As we know, RAF has made a lot of noise and it's making waves. And the crazy thing is, RAF is not here to try to compete with the UFC or PFL or any of these different situations. No. RAF is a wrestling league. This is real freestyling here. They're here just to promote the sport of wrestling. So I don't understand why anyone would feel threatened that they're stealing shine or any of that situation. They're not. Wrestling, this is something we do in practice anyways, in preparation for our fights. And so, I mean, I think it's only beneficial for a league like this to be around and to continue to just help not just wrestlers but fighters grow as well in the sport. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. Now, Henry, looking at Merab and you kind of breaking him down, obviously when you're in a fight, it's a little different. It's different strategies, different situations, different hand fighting and all that. But looking at his wrestling, have you seen him on tape wrestling and his stance, and to where you could kind of go, this is where I plan on taking advantage?
Sure. I mean, we could make all these assumptions, dude, but there's one thing that Merab does have, and it's that gas tank. So what I will say in this match, he's going to be very offensive. He's going to be doing a lot of shooting. He's going to want to push the pace. He's going to be doing a lot of different things to make the wrestling match a wrestling match. To get into scramble positions and things like that. Merab is good, man. You can never take that away. He's a competitor, bro. And I know he's coming in with a gas tank, but I asked for this match. As soon as Merab got a solid real American freestyle, Chad had mentioned it to me, and I'm just like, bro, let's do it. That's perfect. So I like it, man. I like the fact that we're bringing 2 people that the MMA world are recognized with, and now we're putting together all this in a sport of of wrestling, man. So we're bringing you eyeballs to the sport. I mean, you got guys like Zahid in competing, Jordan Oliver, Kyle Snyder, guys that people don't know of that may just be recognized now from from the MMA fans.
Right, right. No, I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job of kind of growing this right now. But Henry, I got to kind of point this out. You're retired. And so, but you're still training and you're still going out here and competing at RAF. Is this your idea of retirement, or is RAF right now and you being able to still train and compete for something, or is that helping you ease out of that retirement in the sport of MMA?
No. I think it's just the opportunity. I wasn't planning, like I told you before, Kamar, I wasn't planning on doing all this, but the opportunity arise. They're giving us a lot of these fighters an opportunity to make a good living. And bro, I don't remember when's the next time I made X amount of money doing what I'm doing right now. So, part of it is just the opportunity
You
cost.
getting chicken like that? Shoot, I need to call Easy then and say, hey, Easy, holla at me,
And
man.
that's why we got to see Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman.
Hey, listen, I've already told you I like the matchup, so it's not something that I would ever run from. And like I said, I don't never say never. That's where I'm at. But Henry, let's look at this card. It's another fantastic cards. I mean, when you have just multiple Olympic champions on the card and world champions on the card, I mean, it's just, it's going to be fireworks. Obviously, the headliner is yourself versus Merab. Co-main event. Now, the RAF seems to be one of the leading guys for RAF. Armen Sarukian taking on your former foe, Uriah Faber. Of course, Kyle Snyder also on the card. Valencia is also on the card. You've got Jourdain Oliver on the card. You've got another Olympic champion in Helen Morales on the card as well. So I believe, 3 Olympic champions on this card? 1, 2, 3. Whew. 3 Olympic champions on the card. If anyone's doing it right, RAF is
No. It's not even, bro. It's 4 Olympic champions.
4. Well, you've got Snyder, you've got
Yeah,
yourself, you got Helen.
So that Georgian dude, Kingashishvili, he won the
Olympic champion?
Yeah, he won the Olympics in 2016 in Rio. I was there.
Ooh. 4 Olympic champions on one card.
A PFL winner, a multi, 2 UFC titles on the line. No, not even. There's 3 UFC titles.
Right, yourself
on the card. 2 PFL championships on the line.
Who else has a UFC?
Merab.
Oh, right, Merab. So Merab, 2 UFC titles,
and then Lance Palmer, Lance the Party Palmer, PFL champ.
Yeah, PFL champion. Ooh, fireworks on this card, man. We're excited for it. I can't wait to see it. As always, my brother, I'm going to ask you, man, go ahead, shoot me that code, man. I ask you every time, but you never do it. Shoot me that code so I can watch it. I got you. Got to show my support.
Just go to the Fox Nation app, click subscribe.
All right. That's taking place April 18th, live on Fox Nation app. And I believe it goes down at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Henry, yes, about the RAF, we're going to be tuned in. But also, my brother, there's been some announcements. Gable Stevenson also signed with RAF, and he's going to be taking on Romanov, which this one is a little surprising for me because I figured it would be, what's his name, Wyatt Hendrickson? I figured that.
Really? So you want to see that matchup already, huh?
I mean, the heavyweight, that's Gable Stevenson, I believe, is here for a short time. He's here for a good time, not a long time, because Gable Stevenson just signed with the UFC. And they've got plans for him. So I believe that they're not gonna be too keen on him going over there and really doing all of this wrestling when they're gonna want him to kind of be a guy that they move pretty quickly towards that title. And so, I would imagine RAF wanted that match, but especially it's a main event. It's a main event. Why not, Henry? Do you know why this came about? And I can think of a few other heavyweights that you could have gone after for this, as opposed to Romanov. And listen, I don't know Romanov's wrestling credentials. I don't know his situation. He could be a damn good wrestler. I don't know that yet. So I don't want to sound like I'm just, throwing salt on his game. But at the same time, we expected the rematch from the NCAA finals, the upset that everyone saw. We expected that rematch. So
yeah, but it could build to that. It could build to that, Kamaru, dude. Easy, patient.
Okay, so you're saying this so multiple things. So he'll be back. Gable Stevenson. It's not just a one-off. He's going to compete again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
He signed a 3-match deal.
Okay, I'm not mad at it then. Well, in the co-main event of that is going to be Chaos Colby Covington taking on Chris Weidman. I believe the All-American. But Chris Weidman, that's a good one. I think Weidman might be a little bit too big for Colby, but I think Colby potentially has the hand fighting to be able to kind of break this one down and be able to go out there and get that decision. What are you thinking, Henry?
Yeah, I mean, Weidman is a little older now, dude. I mean, Kobe, I give my shots to Kobe because I think he's been more active with Weidman doing the desk jobs and things like that. Like, I'm not sure how that kind of pans out for him, but that being said, bro, this is a good matchup. This is a lot more equal than him and Dylan Dennis. So I like it.
I like it. Well, Henry, in other words, like we said before this last weekend, we did say if Josh Hokit goes out there and does what he did like that, and remember I said it, I think this man may be one fight away. And after a performance like that with the antics and everything, Josh Hokit is now the number 5 heavyweight in the world, Henry Cejudo, in the world. So does this give you? Are you doubling down more here on you have to have the antics to be able to entertain and of course go out there and put on a performance? Does this make you want to double down that is true, that you have to have all that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just a testimony of, if you could walk the talk, why not? People are gonna want to see more of you. He will be pushed, and like, you know what I'm saying. Like none of these guys in the top 5 really say anything. Cortez kind of, but he doesn't even speak English 100%. Think about it, man. Look at what Josh Hokit is doing. So yeah, it's a true testimony of, if you have the mouthpiece, why not use it to cut the line? And that's exactly what Josh Hokit is doing. And shit, he's got Derek Lewis. My balls is hot next. Maybe one more, and he could be in for that title next, dude. Or a great performance against Derek Lewis. Maybe they do just push him to the title shot after Pereira gone.
Man, so listen, Henry. After literally less than a week ago, you called this division lame, right? And now look at the fire that just slid in the division. You've got, don't forget the champion. You got Tom Aspinall. Let's not forget Cyril gone. And let's not forget, you've got Volkov is still there. You've got Sergey Pavlovich still there. You got Waldo Cortez Acosta there. And now you've got Josh Hokit there as well. And let's not forget Shama, Mr. Alex Pereira has slid into the division now. Man, this was a quick turnaround. This is quick. Now you got a legit 6-7 heavyweights that can do work. So, man, and let's not forget, I know he's down there, and I believe number 10 or something like that, number 11, Tyrell Fortune, another wrestler, JUCO champion, now in the UFC with his first victory and is already in the top 10, cracking the top 10, top 11. So, man, this division turned around really, really quickly, Henry, and I think we're going to start seeing some fireworks from the heavyweight division as we've always been intended to. All right, guys, let's take a quick break to give a shout out to the largest prediction market in the United States, Kalshi. Guys, download the Kalshi app and use code P4P for a free $10 to get your trades started. More than anything, Kalshi is just fun as hell. I mean, first of all, it's legal in all 50 states, so I'm trading no matter where I am. And like I say, every week, the best part about Kalshi is you, the people, set the prices. It's peer-to-peer trading, which means fans create the lines when they make their trades. Guys, download the Kalshi app and use promo code P4P to get $10 towards your first trade. That's promo code P4P for free $10 on your first trade. Now, let's get back to the episode. But, my man, this weekend, we've got, we've got UFC in Winnipeg this weekend. We've got Gilbert Durinho Burns taking on Mike Malott, the Canadian. And in the co-main event, you got Charles Jourdain taking on Kyler Phillips. Henry, let's talk about this main event. What do you see here in this main event? Because it's almost kind of like the new gun coming in, the new streaking guy coming in, taking on Gilbert Burns that have been in the UFC for a while, have fought for a title, and he's still fighting to stay right there, relevant in that top of that division.
Yeah. I mean, it's, they're giving him the younger guy, but Mike Malott, he's been in the UFC for a minute now, man. Can you pull him up real quick? He's
not a ton of fights, though, I don't believe.
I was super high on him. Then I just feel like he had a couple of like brain fart fights. He's very good, very technical. At one time people would tell him the reincarnation of GSP, kind of same mannerisms a little bit. Genuinely a really nice dude. I had a chance to meet with him, but then I think he lost to Neil Magny that one time by KO. I'm just like, what?
No, he got stopped. Yeah, TKO.
Yeah, he got TKO'd by him. But other than that, I think he's been
6 years. 5 years he's been in the company.
Yeah, he's been in the company for 5 years, bro. I mean, he's got 2 losses in the UFC. He lost to that Hakeem dude and then Neil Magny, which I believe they're both. But either way, bro, Mike Malott's dangerous, bro.
Oh, I think he has 1 loss in the UFC.
No, it's Hakeem. Look, go down. I think he has 1 more loss. You see that?
Yeah, that was in World Series.
Oh, what's
Hakeem Dauda. Yeah, Hakeem, the Nigerian, mean Hakeem Dauda. That was not in the UFC. That was a different company, World Series. But in the UFC, since he's been in the UFC, he has 1 loss, and that's to Neil Magny. And I remember watching that fight, and a lot was told to. I figured out a lot about him watching that fight. And so if anyone is fighting a guy like this, that's a good fight to watch to really get a good idea of what this man potentially is going to bring. He's going to bring fire. He's very well-rounded. He's got a lot of different tools. He can strike very well, can box very well, control distance very well. But there is that thing called heart. And if you are able to stay on it and push, potentially you can get something to happen there. And that's what Neil Magny did. So, I mean, what do you see this fight for him? And do you see, who are you picking as a favorite for this?
Yeah, no, I think the favorite is Malott. I think the favorite is a little bit of the younger fighter. But he's also going up against Gilbert Burns. Man, Gilbert Burns has something in his back pocket that could be very dangerous, and that's the grappling. If he can control Mike Malott in that department, because on the feet, I give it to Malott. Man, Malott's pretty clean, man, with the strikes and whatnot. So, and then about the grappling side, I'd definitely give it to Gilbert Burns. But that being said, man, this is the sport of mixed martial arts. Could you actually mix it? Yeah, man, I think the favorite is Mike Malott, man, on this one. I like Gilbert Burns. I know both of these cats, but if I had to kind of go with the favorite, I definitely go with Mike Malott.
Okay, well, let's see what Kashi has to say about this one. And you are right, Henry. I mean, 75% of people believe that Michael Malott is going to get this done. And, maybe I'm picking with my heart as well, but also I love good odds. And I think Gilbert Burns has all the skills to be able to pull this one out. So I'm personally gonna go 500 on Gilbert Burns because I believe that 500 is gonna slide me off something smooth. I'll go 500 on Gilbert Burns. This is a good one. I think Gilbert has all of the tools to potentially pull this one away, especially being such a big underdog. But
yeah, that'd be good money, bro.
Yeah, I think this is a great test because this is a great test for both men because what we saw in Gilbert Burns' last fight, he kind of, it was almost like he didn't give himself a chance to find that warrior inside himself in that fight versus Morales. And so I think this is a good test to see if he still wants to continue to do this as a job. And at the same time, for Michael Malott, is taking on the seasoned, experienced veteran. Can you go out there and dispose of the experienced veteran? And if you can, then you're potentially ready now for the upper echelon fighters in the welterweight division. So I like this for both guys.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro, for sure. And the odds ain't bad too, man. And you know what? Gilbert Burns could get the job done. But this is the one that actually kind of surprises me. Kyler Phillips versus Jourdain. Bro, I got Kyler Phillips doing some work on this dude. Kyler Phillips, sometimes he's hot or cold, but when he's hot, bro, he's dangerous, man. Kicks to the head, spitting stuff. Very, very creative, man. I'm super surprised that he is the underdog here. It's crazy, man. 57% people think it's Jourdain's gonna take him out, but I'm gonna go with 1,000 on this one, Kamaruddin. I'm gonna go for 1,000 on Phillips. I like my odds. I think Phillips could even finish the job, bro. Whether it's by submission or TKO.
I see what you're saying, but I feel like both guys are similar because I think in fights, in certain fights, their fight IQ is just you would think you think these guys are really, really good. I don't think these guys are really, really good, but there's certain fights where just fight IQ isn't there. And they kind of just pull themselves away from the fight. And so Jourdain is similar. It's the same way. He's very skilled, good boxing, good clean boxing. Can switch stance, but primarily I believe in a southpaw stance. Really, really clean. Can grapple as well. And so I don't know. And Kyler Phillips, I feel, is a little bit more, is gonna go and just take whatever is coming and creating that chaos. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Jourdain here. I think a little bit more experience in the UFC from him. So I'm gonna go with him. I think I'm gonna just go conservative. I'm gonna do a hundo on this one. I'm gonna do 100 on that, just to see. But I do think he potentially can get this done. But not taking anything away from Phillips. Phillips definitely has the tools to get this done. But I just think the experience of Jourdain should help him get through that. But it's gonna be a great card in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, I believe. That's how you pronounce it. A lot of other fights on there as well. The Canadian favorite, Jazzy Vicious, fighting again versus Silva. That's she's a fan favorite, and she is she is close. She was close to that title before suffering that loss. So she's looking to but I think she's looking to get back on track, or maybe she's won since suffering that defeat. But Jazzy Vicious, always a fun one. I love to watch her. And of course, JJ also is on the prelims card. So from Denver as well. So man, it's going to be a good weekend of fights. Good weekend of wrestling. I wish I could come there and watch you, but unfortunately, I want to watch you from the confines of my home, Henry Cejudo. So congratulations in advance
You
and
better
good luck.
subscribe. You better subscribe to that Fox Nation, man.
I will try. I will try. But Henry, now we come to my favorite part of the show, the speed round, my brother. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and we're going to alternate reading these questions. So, Henry, you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Question number 1. Who wins, Derek Lewis or Josh Hokit?
Josh.
Woo! I'm going with the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, to do it again.
Okay, who wins, Mike Perry or Nate Diaz?
I'm going to go with Mike Perry, king of violence right now.
I'll take him for bare knuckle, but I'm going Nate on this one, dude.
Oh, okay. 3. Will Ulberg have 3 successful title defenses, more or less? I'm going to go ahead, Henry.
I'm going to say less.
I could see it. I could see it. Call me crazy, but I could see it. 4. Will Gilbert Burns retire if he loses a 5th straight fight this weekend?
No.
No, I don't think so as well.
5. What country has the best MMA fans? Kazakhstan.
What? Nah. I mean, they're great, but I think it's a mixture. You've got them. Let's not forget the Irish, Ireland. Let's not forget the UK fans. Whenever they go to UK, the boys
just went past the minute, Kush.
What? Yeah, but I mean, I'm going on this. It's a you got the UK, you got the Irish, you've got the Kazakhstan, and then let's not forget the Australians. They love their MMA. They love their MMA. So Henry, I'm not.
I've been everywhere, bro. In Kazakhstan, there's nothing like the fans, bro. Nothing like the fans. Nothing. I'm telling you. This is the reason why with the Shavkat, bro, like they are fanatics, bro. Like real fanatics, man. I don't think there's nobody in the world that has better fans than Kazakhstan.
Russians?
Not better than Kazakhstan, dude.
You know what? I might be inclined to almost agree with you, because when there was a potential of me and when there was a potential of me fighting Shavkat, all those flags in my comment section, it was annoying, my brother. I mean, I woke up, anything I posted, it was 4,000, 5,000 comments the next day, all flags, all Kazakhstan flags. So I might have to agree with you, my brother. Man, but moving on, my brother. This week we've got a question from a casual. It's a question / trivia, Henry. So I'll let you go ahead and read that.
Okay, who is the last lightweight champion to lose their belt in the octagon? Not someone that vacated or got stripped.
This is a good question. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys now give up the belt. We've seen Islam give up the belt. We've seen Khabib give up the belt. You know, it's been a lot.
Charles Oliveira give up the belt too.
Charles Oliveira give up the belt. Charles, what was it? Connor gave up the belt. Man, and so this is a tough one. This ain't just cut and dry, easy work. This is a tough one. Wait, how did Charles Oliveira give up the belt? Did he give up the belt? Yeah, because I know the first time he didn't make weight when he fought Justin Gaethje. So that's when that whole "the champion has a name" phrase kind of came about. I know he lost it on that scale there, but I believe he regained the title fight by I believe he regained the title.
He beat Gaethje.
Yes, it was actually Charles Oliveira. It was Charles Oliveira losing it to Islam Makhachev. Yeah. Yep. Because actually, he wasn't the champion. Because he fought Justin, but he didn't make weight, so only Justin could have won the belt at that time. So it was a vacant title where he fought Islam Makhachev. So you're right, it's not him. So if it's not him, then who is it?
It's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be your boy, man, Eddie Alvarez, the king
Eddie
of violence.
Alvarez. Yeah.
I'm
I
actually
think
gonna be there tomorrow. I'm actually doing a seminar for him tomorrow at his
really,
place.
really. Okay. So you're doing it. So you're going over to Philly, Underground King, right? The gym?
Yep.
Right. Shout out to Eddie, man. I mean, a wonderful gym that he's built out there in Philly with all his fighters, and he's starting to get some fighters to the upper promotions now. So, man, big shout out to him. Big shout out to Frankie Edgar. All those guys out, those former fighters now are really starting to pour into the MMA community and the new up and coming wave. So it's only a matter of time before every corner now you see it's going to be former champion, that guy. So, man, big shout out to them. Henry, yes, and my brother, this week we had a special interview with our man Daniel MacPherson, the star of the new movie Beast that is out in theaters now. Henry, did you get a chance to watch the movie?
Oh, I loved it, bro. I loved it.
Did you feel an emotional roller coaster with that? Because
Oh,
you
dude,
are in
it
retirement
tells a
now.
story of what a fighter that's trying to live his dream has to go through, man. Yeah, dude. I choked up a couple times.
Really? Henry, you feel that? Because I felt the same way. Because there's certain moments that it gets you, because you do get into this position where, as a father, you still, and then as an athlete, you still want to compete. You still want to really go out there and give it all for you to succeed at the highest level. But now you've got a family that demands your time, demands your attention, and doesn't want you to come home beat up and hurt and all of these things anymore, to where you have to battle all of those things. And we all got families. We all got different things going on. So I think this movie touched on a lot of things and that fighters struggle with, not just MMA fighters, but fighters in general, what they struggle with. So, man, it's an incredible movie. The Beast movie is out in theaters now. And yeah, man, we got an incredible interview with my man, Daniel MacPherson. My brother, let's go ahead and get into the interview. Today, we have a very, very special guest, a man that has just quickly jumped into our hearts in the mixed martial arts community. Now, for those of you who, still don't know what mixed martial arts is, that's the combination of all of the arts, whether it's boxing, kickboxing, grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, taekwondo, hapkido, kung fu, you name it all, you put it all together, you get in there, but you're inside a cage and you go out there and compete. And so now, a man that has just been thrusted into our heart, the new edition of the MMA on screen, we have a very special guest, Mr. Dan MacPherson.
Hello, my friend. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me. I'm going to say two things. One is I've just been so warmly received by the MMA community when I was training for the film, but since the film has come out and everybody's loving seeing the representation on screen. But also, we've only chatted briefly, but man, I was such a fan of you and your career and the way you handle yourself inside and outside the cage. It's a real honor to be chatting to you today, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And if you didn't know, I actually got the opportunity to screen the movie a couple of days early, which was a big honor for me, because now starting to kind of veer over to the movie side a little bit, and starting to see the intricacies of how these are made. Mm-hmm. It's a whole nother level of respect that I have for that industry. Because I know when we watch it on screen, we just feel like, I can do that. I can do that. But then they say when the camera's in front of you, it just completely wipes your memory away.
Oh, it changes everything.
It changes everything. Yeah. And you go blank. So,
I think it's like that. I think it's like the best. I mean, the best of anything, the best fighters, they make it look so easy. And even the very best make it look like they're in slow motion. And you go, oh, great, I could do that. But I think when it comes to film and filmmaking, you know, and particularly when you got people like Russell Crowe that make it look exceptionally easy, you realize how much work goes into it to make it look that easy, you know?
Right. Now, Dan MacPherson, star of the new movie that is in theaters now, the new movie Beast. And Dan, just talk a little bit about this and how this movie came about for you, because you've been in the business for quite some time and you've been in a lot of different projects. But for this one, you are the leading man. You are the guy that's on that poster. You are the face of this project. And so talk a little bit about how this came about and how you decided you wanted to be in a mixed martial arts movie.
Oh, man. I started acting when I was 17 years old. I came from a triathlon background. I was picked off the side of a road by an acting manager at a triathlon when I was 17. And the first job I ever got was in a soap opera in Australia. And so I started doing soaps, and then I started doing some theater, and I started acting many years ago. And then that took me around the world. It took me to London. It took me to Los Angeles. And I was doing a film on the Gold Coast in Australia with Russell Crowe. It was called Land of Bad. It was a great action film, American action film. And the writer of Land of Bad, after watching Russell and I work together, Dave Frigerio, said, "Hey, you guys work really, really well together. I've got this other film. It's a fight movie. I can see the relationship you guys have working together. Russell would be great as the coach. You'd be great as the fighter. Why don't you have a look at it? It's an MMA film and it's set in upstate New York." And so, one, coming from a sports background, and two, having the chance to work with Russell again on a film, particularly in that fight genre, and knowing how important for him Cinderella Man was for him and his career, and that was one that really changed his life. To have Russell turn around and say, "Hey, man, I think we should do this, and I want to do it with you." This is back in 2022. You know, those opportunities don't come along in a career very often. So as I do, I threw myself in 150%, started training the next day. And as the movie gods would have it, it took us nearly 3 years to get to set, but I never stopped training.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
that was my next question. Is I was going to ask you, so when did you guys actually shoot this movie?
So we started rolling cameras. We had 2 false starts, 2023, 2024, and then it was off for all of 2024. And I went off and did a theatre play. I did a play around Australia for 5 months. And just as I finished that in August 2024, they said, "Hey, we're going third time lucky. We're going to do it this year." And I've been touring through winter. I was out of shape. I was exhausted. I was like, "Cool, how long have I got?" And they go, "You got 10 weeks. I was like, "Shit." So I was back training, and we started filming December 2024. And we shot up in Bangkok at 170 with One Championship guys in end of January 2025. And we wrapped just about a year ago, March 2025. So a year ago, yeah.
Right. And I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I understood, I took away from working in the movie industry is you know, obviously most people think you film, it's out the next week. For us who are the consumers, we don't realize all the intricate details that comes with actually filming this, and then actually editing this, and then actually having this cut and that cut and this cut just to get it right, and then testing it before it goes out.
Totally.
You know, so
totally.
and
they say film is a director's medium. You know, we as actors and we as performers, you get your moment in front of the camera, but it's the director that can really craft what type of story, the tone of the story. But particularly when it comes to action and it comes to fighting, the editing is so important. And the way the edit is cut and shot, and then sound design, you know, the way that you want some of those punches to sound, some of those hits to land, you can sell that with a lot of sound. So a lot of sound design and a lot of edit is really important in that action genre.
Right. And, you know, was there ever a fear of this not finishing, this project not finishing, or this project not getting done? Because I also have to learn that not every movie that is filmed, that is done, is going to be put out for everyone.
Yeah, no, there was. I mean, this film for a lot of reasons shouldn't have got made. It Russell's schedule was changing. I was a relatively unknown Australian actor trying to finance a big international feature film for Lionsgate here in the US. The schedules, the finance, and then like the injuries and the training and all this sort of stuff. And then finally it got up and we were filming. And so we shot all Russell stuff. We'd shot 4 of the 5 days in Bangkok at the One Championship event. So we had the cage for 5 days. And on the 4th night, which was the actual event where we got to shoot in between fights at 170, I tore my adductor off the bone and fractured my pelvis in the filming. And I said to the guys, I'm not going to be able to walk. I'm not going to be able to do this. And I turned up the next day and was just on a bunch of painkillers and stuff. And we managed to get it shot. But I said, guys, I can't film this last round. Like, I can't even walk. And so even in the middle of a shoot, you're like, is this thing going to fall over? But we ended up getting it all shot, and we ended up getting back to Australia and shooting all the rest of the film. And then, yeah, man, you just hope. And we were really lucky. We had big support from Lionsgate here in the US, and they've been amazing and patient for Tyler, the director, to get it perfect and get it shot and get it designed and edited just the way he wanted to deliver it. And now it's like releasing it's like you've raised an animal and you're releasing it back out into the wild. And once you've kind of let it go back into the jungle, you know, it's completely vulnerable, but it's no longer yours. So it's like it's going to go fend for itself now. So you got to kind of just go.
Right. Now let's talk about this movie a little bit. Talk about the story. I saw it. I don't want to spoil it for everyone. I think they would rather hear it from the main man's mouth. What were you guys going for here? And what is this movie about? For those of you who haven't seen the movie yet, what is this movie really about? What story and what should people convey when they leave the theater? What message did you want them to get from this?
It's funny, you get a script and the script has the voice of a writer, then you have a director and the director has a voice, and then as an actor, every actor kind of has their voice and their part of their story they want to tell. But occasionally when everybody can get on the same page, and oftentimes that's not easy as well, when they're telling the same story, that's when films elevate. Tyler, our director, had an idea for elevating what is quite a quintessential fight story, although told contemporary in the world of MMA, but infusing it with a lot of heart. I was 42 years old when I got this script. I was a young father. My son was 2.5 at that point. I'd gone through the pandemic. I'd turned 40. I'd been through a writer's strike, actor's strike, been through a separation and subsequent divorce, parents aging, all this kind of stuff that I found was a really challenging era in my life. And I was presented this character. There was a retired fighter who was fighting now to stay afloat, to provide for his family, as a provider, as a protector for his family, for his daughter, in a tough working class town. But for us, it was a story of a man fighting to reclaim his purpose and reclaim his identity and reclaim his motivation and mission as a man in life. And that took him literally back into the cage, fighting for those people that he loved, fighting for family, and ultimately fighting for himself. So although on paper you go, great, I've heard this story before. It's an out of work fighter having to get back in the cage to provide for his family, make money and whatnot. But for us, it was anchored in a man finding his own purpose again and fighting for what he believes in. And I think Patton, my character, has been a champion before. He's felt those heights, those really high highs that only people like yourselves know tomorrow. And the transition that people struggle with, and particularly, athletes struggle a lot with transitioning out of high-level sport. Military and combat veterans transitioning out of the military and really struggling to find that purpose and identity. That was something that was really important to me, and that I'd experienced, that a lot of friends of mine experienced. And I know there was a lot of guys around the world struggling with that themselves and struggling then with mental health issues and things like that, that I wanted to put on screen a man that chose to courageously and boldly fight for who he really was to reclaim his identity and purpose.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it all in the head there, and for me, I'll give you just
I'd be honored.
quick rundown of what I really took away from this. You guys hit a lot of different points with what the human, the everyday person, the human has to deal with, and especially a man, especially an athlete or former athlete, what they have to deal with now. There's all different variables. You touch on family, which is obviously very important to us. And you touch on family in a good way where you see the healthy relationship between a man and his wife. But at the same time, you also touch on family, something that almost all of us has to deal with, which you might have, one oddball out in the family. You might have some discord in the family to where that is something that weighs on you, something that anchors you, or something that just causes some friction that way. You see that with his relationship with the brother.
Mm-hmm.
You also touch on a lot of different outside factors, which Patton has to deal with where his brother started getting funds and things like that from. So you see them touch on that to where now I have to potentially clean up certain things that's going on out here while I'm still battling what it is to be a provider, which I still have to somehow find a way to go get something to support my wife, my kids, and our future here. And then I also thought one thing that was also pretty special about it was we have this thing when we're in this journey called life. There, you never know who's gonna climb onto your raft here and there, and you see that where now all of a sudden, you know what? I'm gonna leave this work. I'm gonna go back to what I'm used to, what I know, and what I still my heart's still in. I go back to that, but I've picked up a new friend here. I've picked up someone here, and that person wants to come with me too. And so now you have someone else to where now I'm responsible for someone else's well-being as well. And so I picked up all these different things to where I think you guys did a phenomenal job of really conveying that on screen.
Thank you.
But now there's different, and obviously doing a film like this with the legendary Russell Crowe, which, and I found out about Russell through Cinderella Man, actually.
Yeah, wow.
And that movie is so special to me, to the point where I watch that movie and it still hits me in the chest, to where I still get emotional about that.
Yeah.
Because of how he was able to convey that character on screen. Mm-hmm. So watching this and you guys were special on screen together. But a big thing I think is people are going to watch this movie from a lot of different lenses, because like you get the casual fan that are going to watch this and going to love this. And then you get the ones that are, maybe flipping through TV and then, oh, there's a fight on. Glance on it for a little bit and then keep watching. You guys are going to get all those. And then you get the actual fighter. And then there's levels to fighting as well. You get the elite fighters, then you have the champions, and you have the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Now, Sugar Rashad Evans was actually there to watch this film with me. And we all know legendary Sugar Rashad Evans. And he loved it as well in what you guys were able to put out. Now, I don't think people are going to understand how difficult this is to do. Because when we watch a fight, you watch them hitting each other. You watch them killing each other on screen when we watch fights. But you don't realize how difficult that is to do a movie. And hit someone or convey that and show that and make it believable. So talk a little bit about the phicality that this kind of brought, that this took from you guys.
Totally, man. Look, it's so great to hear just all the things you saw, man, in that, man. Thank you so much, because they were the things that were really important to me to really convey as well, and also just touching on, Herb Dean and his wife came in and saw it early days. And his beautiful wife came out in tears of going, you've also shown people what it's like for the family and for the wives of everybody involved in this sport as well. And that was something really important for us as well. So that's touched there. Mate, I trained I trained for 3 years, and I started at the very beginning. I had a sports background, but didn't have a fight background. But I knew that, as you said, and as everyone knows, everybody has access 24/7 to MMA in the palm of their hand and professional elite level MMA anytime they want it. And so not only is everybody now an expert and they see high level, what they see, they also, a lot of them are practicing themselves. So they know their kickboxing, they know their grappling, they know their jiu-jitsu, they know their Muay Thai and their elbows. And so they'll tell you if it's wrong. So I went to a boxing coach, a jiu-jitsu coach, a Muay Thai coach, and literally was like, hey man, I'm starting at the very beginning. You need to teach me how to punch. And I don't want to I need to know exactly the precision of where things are meant to go. And because on screen, that's the first thing everyone's going to see. And then it was like jiu-jitsu, and I need to, grips and da-da-da. Then Muay Thai and elbows and knees and blocks. And then once I could speak a little bit of each language, then the language of MMA made more sense to me. If I had gone straight into MMA, I don't think I could have created that believable technicality. So then Bren Foster came on board, and this is 3 years into my process, and I took myself out to Thailand a couple of times to fight camp. And by the third year, I was pretending that I was a professional MMA guy jumping into sparring classes in camp in Thailand and getting choked out and beaten up by a bunch of professional athletes who were like, what the hell are you doing here? I was like, I'm actually an actor, training for a gig, and they were wonderful, but that was the level I wanted to go in and do it. So Bren Foster comes in. He is from a Taekwondo background. He's extensive jiu-jitsu background, extensive MMA and martial arts background, also a fantastic actor and filmmaker. So I then set about working with Bren of going, we need to not only make this realistic and believable MMA for that first bandwidth, then it has to be technically proficient and exciting for that next bandwidth. And then it has to be entertaining. It has to be more entertaining than what people see every Saturday on pay-per-view. And so, cool. And then we got really ambitious and what if we try and make this the most entertaining and ambitious and authentic MMA ever seen on film? And whether or not we succeed, who knows? But that was where we set the bar, which meant it had to be faster, more intense, and more technically proficient, and more action-packed than we usually see on a weekend. So that took years of work to get to that point, and we put our bodies on the line there for 5 or 6 days in Thailand to film that final fight sequence.
Right. No, I mean it was incredible to watch, and like I said, we all watched from a different lens, to where I found myself starting to do this throughout the film, because you go in and immediately I come in from this lens of, MMA fighter. I know a lot about MMA. Let me see what this movie is about. To where I start getting into the story, to where now I'm immersed in the story, where it's like, okay, I see this beautiful story here of a family. And then now it takes me on another roller coaster where I'm like, okay, now you see the family, how he's anchored and pulled this way and that way with family. And then you watch the fight sequence and the scenes to where it's, me personally, I'm watching this. I thought so I'm guessing you had a double for some of these.
The only time I had a double was in the final round when I'd torn my adductor. And so otherwise, no, man, we didn't have time. We didn't have time or the resources, to be honest. So for the first, 85% of that fight, that's all me. Yeah.
So all the bag work, gym work, that's all.
Yeah.
I will say, I will say this, hands down, I'm give you props because,
thank you.
That's one of the first places where you kind of see actors exposed, is the mechanics of how to deliver a shot the right way and the body placement and movement. I thought the bag work was damn good for an actor. I was like,
thank you.
I was like, oh man, for an actor, the punch is coming out and the way the shoulders are moving and actually delivering these shots, that's what that looks like. That's a fighter right there.
Yeah, great.
And I saw that and I was like, man, I really appreciated that. Now, obviously, there are the fighters that are going to stay in just to fight mindset to where they're like, well, I wouldn't do these types of moves, in a fight or this and that. But it's my friends, you're watching the film here. You're watching a really good film to where I have to hold on to your attention, and I have to convey this story through and through. And so I thought you guys did a phenomenal job at that. And without spoiling anything, there was a scene where the brother actually gets his rematch with the character, the main villain,
Xavier, the bad guy.
Xavier, to where I'm watching where they're fighting here, where there was a little bit of a Street Fighter edge being brought in here, which I thought was very cool. The lights, how it was lit up, and obviously it was for certain group that could afford to be here. I thought that was cool. I'm watching this going, they're going to do all these moves on that floor.
So that we talk about sound design. So there are two things that we've discussed. That first time when I was hitting that red bag, which is the first time you see me in the garage throw a punch, that was after I'd torn my adductor off. And so I hadn't been able to move for a month. And I was like, guys, you've got to make me look good because this is the first time I'm going to see it in the film, but I haven't been able to train. But I can kind of move off this left, and I can throw these rips in, and I've got this kind of, I can do that, and just bear with me. But the sound design adds so much weight to the sound of that punch. I remember the first time I saw it, I grabbed the director, was like, dude, I think you've just bought me a career. Like, you just made me look good here, bro. And then the second one with those guys fighting in that fight you're talking about, with the sound of them hitting the steel, and the ground. Truth be told, it was all soft mats and padding, but you get your sound design to put in that steel and that banging, and it just it takes it into that Street Fighter realm, doesn't it?
Okay, yeah. Now it makes sense. With some of the moves that they were doing down there, I was like, okay, really, you might be hurt more from the ground than
each
what
other.
you're actually doing.
Oh, totally.
No, but it was beautiful. Now, looking at this movie, I mean, was there ever a thought of bringing in some, because we did see some of our famous guys in there, in I believe opening scene, we got to see our dear friend Martin
Ewan's in there. Martin Ewan's in there. Josh Coolabauer was in there. We see DJ in there at some point when we were in Thailand.
Of course,
the end. And look, we would have loved to have brought in more. Part of it was availability. Obviously, we were partnered up with One Championship, which is fantastic. It allows us to shoot up there, but that also just had a little complications with, depending on who was on what contract and stuff. But depending, I got to go up to Bangkok. I got to train with Superbon. I got to go up train with Tawanchai. I got to go and train with some of the greatest out of Southeast Asia, which was amazing. And we really wanted to get more and more athletes in there, but we were running the gauntlet so tightly with schedule, budget, as I said, with injuries, with locations, with Russell's dates, that we were like, the train was running. We'd had 2 false starts. It was like, this thing's not slowing down. We just got to get this thing shot. And so that meant sometimes, someone was an hour behind schedule and they missed out, or, and you just got to live with what you live with,
All right. Was there ever thought to maybe get Volk in it? I mean, because he's right next door. So.
Desperately trying to get Volk in there. We just had a screening of Volk and those guys down at Windang, down at his gym last week. He just gave us the seal of approval. He said to Tyler, the director, he said, I'm not going to admit to it, but I may have shed a tear in the cinema. And I said to the director, well, congratulations, brother. You just might have made the Pound for Pound cry, tear up,
Yeah. I would understand, knowing Volk and knowing a little bit about his story and where he's at. I can understand that, because I as a father as well, and a father of girls as well.
That's a whole different thing. So I'm a boy dad. Tyler, our director, is a girl dad, and it's different. But also, we wanted our representation of healthy masculinity was strong men capable of violence, but with incredible respect and love for the females in their lives.
Right.
And that's really important.
Right. And Volk is a girl dad of, I think, 4.
Yeah.
Me too. And so it's there's a big thing here with being so masculine that you could come home and just still melt in the presence of all this feminine women that are around you. And there's something so special about that, because it does make you susceptible now to where it's, I mean, if it's just boys, it's just testosterone around, then it's like, I can't shed that tear. I can feel that. I can't feel that, to where now it's just like, no, I'll cry.
Yeah.
There's been movies now the way it makes me think of my girls, and I'll cry.
Isn't that great? That's exactly how it should be. You know, I raise I've got a 6-year-old son. I don't want him to I don't want to be raised in the era of my father and grandfathers, where they were scared to show emotion or scared to deal with their feelings. And you look at, there's obviously a global change in how certain generations and coming generations are dealing and using alcohol or cigarettes or whatever they used to do in those eras, because I think people are dealing with their emotions better than they used to, and they're allowed to kind of process things differently. And my son's he's the son of 2 artists, so like he's already singing and dancing and an emotional little guy anyway. But I think it's really healthy, man, and that's kind of, again, one of those things we really wanted to display on this project.
Phenomenal movie, the Beast movie. Obviously, a story in itself, but also incorporating the world and the sport of mixed martial arts at its highest level in one championship. Let's talk a little bit too about fighting. So, how long have you been a fan of mixed martial arts, and when did you really kind of get into watching this sport?
I was sort of a casual observer from probably, in the last 15 years or so. And I was working on a show called Strike Back, which is a military action series here. And my co-star, Warren Brown, was a 2-time amateur Muay Thai world champion in his younger years. And so I started understanding the sport more when I was watching it with Warren. So 2016, 17, 18, we were touring the world filming. And, that was the rise of Conor McGregor and yourself. And there was some, great era of fighters. And I understood it a lot better. And then, so I was always a fan. But until I started training it in 2022, then you could watch it completely differently. And I go back and look at athletes like yourself. I go back and look at athletes like GSP, or I go back and look at the athletes that I was watching even in the previous decade, and I see that completely differently in a way that I couldn't comprehend. I didn't have the knowledge to comprehend, that time in my life,
Right.
Yeah.
Watching, obviously, the sport of mixed martial arts, who are some of your favorites to watch right now?
Right now, who do we love? I mean, we talk about Volk, but he's a national treasure. He's a national icon. We celebrate him for his heart when he wins or loses, and that kind of Australian underdog mentality is why he endears himself, around the world. I've loved, he spawned a great era of Australian MMA. Jack Della, I love. He's a real animal. Jack Jenkins is on his way up. Out of Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
We we share a passion in horse racing in Australia, so we talk about fighting and racing.
Right.
And man, we were just talking about it just before we came on, but the card on the weekend, and Carlos Ulberg and his lead hook is incredible.
Right.
He's going to be very exciting, and will continue to be.
Yeah, and I mean, he's kind of put himself there. He's kind of was under the radar a little bit, and especially a division that kind of had the giant out front in Alex Pereira. He overshadows everyone. If you're not really making waves and you're not that guy, then you're kind of been overshadowed by the presence of Alex Pereira. So Carlos has kind of been quietly putting together these wins here and these finishes here, to where now he sits at the top of that throne with the vacancy of Alex Pereira. He sits there at that throne, and being able to overcome something like that over that weekend, to where you were severely compromised, whether it's your knee or your leg, to where you're essentially on one leg, and still be able to get the finish in the fashion like that. I mean, it's very, very special, and that's going to be a good story opener.
Still keep putting yourself right in front of Yuri, of one of the greats, who's been the only one to get close to Alex, you know, in that era, and to continue to put himself right there to get his shot was incredible, you know. And maybe looking back, really realizing how significant the Reyes victory was, you know, to get there, because Dom, I think, had been really building, and again, maybe a little bit under the radar, but really building some form and finding himself back into some real dominant form. That was maybe more significant than we realize now in hindsight, you know, maybe as a casual observer. And you say everybody comes through with their own little bandwidth,
of course,
you know.
Of course.
No. And look, obviously, like everybody else, want to see how Alex goes. Alex goes in a new division. I mean, I can't. It doesn't look natural on him as a casual observer, but I'm very interested to see. You know, if anyone can do it, it'll be him. But what a matchup!
Right. No, it's special, and I mean, it was just great fights, great card, and that side of the world now is, you know, I believe 4 champions now, you know, with Volk, with Jack Della, with Izzy, with now Olberg. I mean, it's you know,
Prime Izzy was one that I just could not take my eyes off, and
everyone.
Just to see that calm focus, reading a situation, you know, those title defenses when people go, he's not doing anything in round 1. He's not doing anything well, you know, he is learning and reading and positioning himself. And only now have I learned in hindsight to go back and watch some of those that, you know, again, you were so brilliant at it, but watching Prime Izzy was extraordinary, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure, man. What a fantastic movie. Beast movie in theaters now, you know, starring Dan MacPherson and Russell Crowe. I mean, it was a special one for me to get a chance to screen, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little salty screening the movie. And I even mentioned it before we watched the movie. I said, hey, usually when I screen these movies, I'm actually kind of in the movie. But this one, I'm not in this movie. So don't look for me and then come at the end of the movie and go, wait, I didn't see you in that movie. Did they cut all your parts out? So don't look for me. I'm not in this movie. But all in all, it was a phenomenal movie. I love it. And I hope everyone is loving this as well. If you haven't seen it, make sure you run to the theaters to watch the Beast movie. Out now, starring Dan MacPherson and Russell Crowe. Man, Dan, thank you so much for joining me, my man. It's a pleasure. And before we go, I just want to say, man, what a representation to the mixed martial arts community, because this is, yes, of course, this sport's been around for a long time, to where it was different forms, where it was Vale Tudo, where it was bare knuckle, where it was all these different iterations of the sport. But now, to see where it is, where it's a full-fledged sport. You know,
totally.
We've got the gloves right. We've got the shorts. We've got the venue, the cage right, and everything, to where any representation is pushing this sport forward. So we want to thank you for that. Thank Cinderella Man Russell Crowe for also being a part of this as well, because he was a boxer in that movie. He could have easily gave us the boxing, you know, like now.
No, totally.
Yeah, but we want to thank you guys, man. This is a great movie, and for those of you who haven't seen it, make sure you go see it. But Dan, I mean, anything you want to just tell the fans?
Oh man, look, I will just say that from the moment we started out on this journey, the entire MMA community has just been so gracious and so forthcoming, and the athletes that I've met have been so wonderful in trying to help us represent the entire MMA community. We did that with a great level of responsibility and a great level of respect for what the men and women of this sport do, be it professionally or otherwise. So we did it with wholeheartedly as fans of the sport, as fans of you guys, and I hope you guys feel that when you see it on the big screen. And man, be careful if you're going to keep acting. We got a sequel coming up. We might need you, so leave that phone on, bro.
Oh, that's
what do you reckon?
Go ahead and text my management right now and tell them, hey, there's a sequel coming up.
Yeah, why not?
And I mean, phenomenal. It was a good setup, anyways, for something like that to come up because now I think people are going to be tuned in and be excited to see how this story transforms into a sequel.
I think so. Man. I think it's going to grow. I think it's going to keep going. It's out in the wild now. Yes. So thank you for spreading the word, man. And as I said earlier, man, it's an honor to chat to you and an honor to meet you, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan, for joining us. Man, I can't wait for everyone to see this movie. It's a pleasure. The Dan MacPherson, star of the new movie Beast. Thank you so much for joining us, my man.
My pleasure, man. See you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. All right, Henry, that was an amazing interview for my man D-Mac, Daniel MacPherson, star of the movie Beast, which is out in theaters now. Man, we thank him for joining us to touch on that movie a little bit. Amazing movie. But Henry, a lot going on this week. Of course, you are competing, so good luck to you as well, and all the boys out there and girls out there competing in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. My brother, as always, you know who I beat, the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
My brother, we are out.